I have Deirdre Gearty here with me now, and Deirdre's going to tell me a little bit about her connection with the 1916 Rising. Deirdre, you're
Thanks,
right.
Anna. Well, my connection with the Rising is actually four of the people that the committee have decided very kindly to honour for having participated in the Rising in 1916 are actually relations of mine. They're the McGuinnesses. Joe McGuinness, Frank McGuinness, Rose McGuinness and Bridget Lyons Thornton, whose mother would have been a McGuinness. Joe McGuinness and Frank McGuinness were my great-great-granduncles, and then Bridget Lyons Thornton and her first cousin Rose McGuinness were their nieces.
That's very interesting. And would you be able to tell me a little bit about any family lore that has come down through the generations about them?
Well, the person that I suppose we knew best, Rose McGuinness, the lady I mentioned, died very young. She died of TB not terribly long after the Rising. But Bridget Lyons Thornton is probably the most interesting, apart from Joe McGuinness, obviously, who was the person who had partaken in the Rising. He was part of the 1st Battalion in the Four Courts at the time. And he was the person that when he was imprisoned after the Rising, there was an election called, and he was the famous person that they had the slogan, vote him in to get him out. He was in jail in England at the time, and the slogan was, as I said, vote him in to get him out, and he was elected and became part of the first Dáil. Now, Bridget Lyons Thornton was his niece. She had travelled to Dublin on Easter Monday with her other uncle, Frank McGuinness, a brother of Joe's,
yes.
And she ended up in the Four Courts as well that day. She was a first-year medical student, and I think she partook in looking after what was going on there. I suppose as a first-year medical student, she didn't know an awful lot, but there was plenty to be done, and she stayed there for the week and ended up being imprisoned afterwards as well.
And that's amazing. And when you were growing up, were you aware of this?
Oh yes, absolutely. I mean, she was Auntie Thornton to us. She was my grandmother's first cousin. She lived until she only died in about 1984, and I haven't done the sums on what age she was, but I would remember her very vividly. I mean, obviously I was married that year, so as I said, Auntie Thornton was very much part of our lives growing up. She came and went on holidays with my grandmother and my grandaunt, and as I said, she was a formidable lady. She became a doctor after the Rising, and she then, as I think the Commandant talked about today, she was the first commissioned army officer, first lady commissioned,
yes.
Of the new army once the Free State was created. So she was quite a famous person in her own right, and I remember her vividly, absolutely.